Hello and welcome back to Logan Sounds Off. Today on my podcast, I'm very, very excited to be talking to one of the noisiest in the most respectful way and coolest rock bands that are on the Irish music scene at the moment. They're making waves from their debut album, Come and See, now becoming iconic in the Irish music community with a lot of people loving their music. I'm going to be talking to, of course, Gurriers. Hey Dan, hey Mark, how are you guys keeping?
Good. How are you doing, Logan? Logan.
Great.
Hello.
Marvelous, man.
I'm gonna start calling him Logo now. Sorry.
I'm doing really, really well. Thank you for asking. Before we get into our chat, and I'm very excited to, I'd just like to ask you guys, for those who are unfamiliar with Gurriers or their music, could you tell us a little bit about the band you are in?
Do you want to take that one, Mark? Yeah, I can take it.
Not really, but that's usually your forte. But I will. Yeah, I
That's why I'm
suppose
asking.
like a kind of loud, noisy, little bit psychedelic rock band. Myself and Dan met working in a very infamous fast food restaurant about 10 years ago, and kind of dreamed it all up on the fryers, and here we are. That's the short of it, I suppose.
It's a really cool journey, and I think that's what I love about Gurriers is that there's so many different influences there. It's perfect for everyone, that a lot of people from a lot of different scenes can tap into it. But I'd love to, you mentioned there the infamous fast food place. I'd love to go back to those early roots. And I'd love to ask you guys, because I know you guys met originally in that fast food place and you're talking a lot about music. So what were those kind of early days like? What kind of music were you guys discussing and how did the band first begin? Because I know you met Pierce from Mark, you knowing Pierce, and then Dan, you and Dan meeting. So could you tell us about those early days and what kind of music you were discussing while serving food at that restaurant?
It was mostly our love for Radiohead. I think is what one of the main things that we became closer than just workmates, and just mu music in general. And like Mark would like show me things that are a bit more hard rock heavy kind of stuff that I wouldn't listen to, and a lot of hip hop that I wouldn't have like been adventurous with as much before. That I always thought was interesting, and it made work in the fast food restaurant quite bearable in certain ways. Like if I came in on a day and I was clocking in and if I didn't see Mark, I knew it was going to be a long day, and that's how it kind of felt. But yeah, it was
No,
always
longer day.
a longer day, yeah, because we always get in trouble for talking. We'd be making burgers and talking about like the next Radiohead album that was, being dropped or whatever, and being told to shut up. You just couldn't. We were like kids in school, in the back trying to talk about our favorite things. But yeah, I think I was in a band at the time, and I was kind of just doing things with two bands, and Mark had always had an idea that he wanted to pick me from one of those bands one day and start a band with me. And now look what he's done to me. He's made me grow a mustache.
It's amazing where Gurriers have come from. And you mentioned there you were in a band, and I find it really interesting to trace back these roots from groups. You were in a band called The Innocent Bystander. So at that stage, like, were you guys considering releasing music, or what was it like when you joined? Was that your first band? And if so, what was it like first playing in a group?
I was my third band. I've been in bands since I'm 15, and I'm 30 years old now, so I've been in bands half my life. So my first ever band was called Frequency, but it was spelled like the word freak instead of the original way you should spell it, because we were edgy. And then I was in another band called Diatonics, which was all of my childhood friends, like Emmett, who was in Gurriers at the start, was also in Diatonics. And then I joined Innocent Bystander, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone and ballpark in music. It was a bit more pop orientated and a bit more like 1980s kind of style. Not that I didn't like it, I just thought it was it actually kind of helped me write better, and as a singer songwriter kind of thing, it helped me in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And from those original days, from going from the Innocent Bystander to then you guys forming Gurriers in 2020, um, could you tell us a little bit about what kind of songs you were writing at the moment and how Gurriers began? Because obviously it went from 2 people wanting to start a band to 5 people in a group making incredible music. So could you tell us about those early days and how Gurriers began?
Well, there were 7 in the band at the very start.
Really?
Um, yeah,
Wow.
there was the
No,
5 of us. What was it?
six.
Was it 6?
No, because it was all of us minus obviously a bass player. Ben kind
Oh, a
of
bass
played
player.
bass.
Ben played bass. Yeah, of course. Yeah, 6. Yeah, apologies.
That guitar player and Ali, like she was doing like keys and kind of vocals, and then Ben and Pierce.
Yeah, I taught Stu how to bass at the start. It's 5 years ago.
Uh,
Um,
Ben Ben was the bass.
Ben was the bass player, which is a terrible idea. Because he's an amazing bass player, but he's just a phenomenal guitarist.
I'm sure
It would have been limited.
I'm sure Jimi Hendrix was a great bass player, but like no one wants to hear Jimi Hendrix play bass.
No, no.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, but I think the very first riff or very first note that was ever played was Mark playing Approachable. That was the very first thing I heard. See, the first thing I remember, there was probably little like licks and stuff, but I remember the very first thing he played was Approachable. And I have a video on someone's phone somewhere of us playing Approachable in a very, very messy, terrible way. But you could feel the bones of it was there, you know? And I think it was cool. It was like one of those things where you realize like, oh wow, this is actually a bit more interesting and a bit more like cool than the things I've done before.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and as well with that, I'd love if that would come out from the Gurriers archives. I'd love to see those because "Approachable" is one of my favorite tracks, and became
Thanks.
a favorite of you guys, obviously because you were playing it at a lot of gigs, including Jools Holland. But we'll get to that. Before we get to one of your biggest gigs with Jools, I'd like to talk about your very first one, which was on Halloween night 2021. And what interested me more though than the fact that it was on Halloween was actually how you guys promoted it through a weird advertisement of Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. So could you explain, Mark, where did that idea come from? What was that original idea from to promote the gig with such a really cool clip from the show?
Oh, sorry, you could was that Malcolm in the clip?
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh yeah, no, you're asking the right man. Because so this was I think lockdown has a lot to answer for in terms of online behavior, and not necessarily nefarious online behavior. I think it was just Ben and I were living together, and Ben is like an expert at like video editing, and I think one night we were just like, you know what would be really funny if we just did something really stupid with Malcolm in the Middle, and I think we just chopped the clip and we started messing with it as a joke, and then we started putting the audio behind it, and then we thought, oh, let's take a clip from Breaking Bad as well, and it kind of it was meant to be this like 15-minute joke that then became like, oh, I think we actually have to upload this. This is too good not to. I think, and as well, we were just looking at more like, obviously we had no money or budget or anything, and I was just kind of getting interested in sometimes how brilliant things can come from no money, no budget, and you just really have to use your imagination. Uh, and yeah, look, like don't get me wrong, the music is serious, and we do take our craft seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And Malcolm in the Middle is kind of like a comfort show, and we just thought this would be a bit of a piss take. And not that many people saw it, but I know the few people who did really enjoyed it. It's a bit of a niche Gurriers Malcolm in the Middle crossover. It's a bit of a small subsection of society, but I'm happy to serve them.
For those who know, any Malcolm in the Middle fans there,
You shall serve.
anyone in the intersection of Malcolm in the Middle and Gurriers, just like me, um, all those people, you got what you needed. And then I'd love to speak to you guys about before the record came out, 2023 December. You guys played at Other Voices, obviously a really popular music show, and I had conversations about Other Voices with some really incredible people. Like I spoke to Jerry Fish, who presented part of Other Voices, as well as spoke to Smyth recently, one of my more recent interviews. Obviously, these will all be linked down below, guys, as well as Gurriers' website. Um, I spoke to them about other voices, and I love to get insight into it because it's such a big part of Irish music culture. How did you guys find performing on other voices?
That was for me anyway. That was um, in a way life changing because it kind of cemented the fact that we were part of something a bit more like I don't know, real and authentic as a band. It gave me one of those feelings that like, oh no, we're not just one of those like local bands. Not that anything about local bands are bad anymore. It felt like we were out of that kind of like mold. But like I watched other voices like all my life. The first time I ever saw it was when I was 15 and it was the National playing in the church and they did Blood Buzz Ohio and I was like, that's incredible. I'll never get there. I'll never play in that church. That wasn't like a thing like I want to be there. I want to do that. I was just like, that's the level you need. Like that's the big level. That's the big leagues. So for me, I had a massive cry afterwards, and it was nice.
Fair enough. I mean, it is a
Yeah,
really important part. And I remember when I was starting up the podcast and starting these interviews, it was so
funny enough,
important.
I have here. Funny enough, when you play the church, they give you this bottle of, this is what we call such a class in the industry. They give you a bottle of whiskey, and this will be mirrored, but it actually says Gurriers on it. I haven't opened it. It's just to me that's the closest I'm getting to a brown.
I think I saw the Gurriers. I have this fine physical audio format. Thank you to Gilded ALM for sending me this. But if you want it, listener, go to nofilter.ffm.to/Gurriers_ come and see. The link will be down below in the description. Make sure to check it out. And make sure to support your artists, guys. Purchase it digitally, CD or vinyl. So I'd love to ask you about going from playing live, you're playing other voices, obviously these early days that we were talking about. How did it feel to go from releasing demos on a platform like Bandcamp to going into the studio to record your first full-length studio album?
It took time. It definitely was a thing that took a good bit of time. For me, I've worked in studios pretty much since I was like 16 and like kind of knew how to work in them. But with a new band and kind of working with something that was like very, I don't know, like punky and loud and abrasive and fast. We need to find the right kind of producer for it. So we did it a couple of times. We went to two different producers, um, and not that it wasn't right. It wasn't the right sound. It was just we needed to learn how to work together in a studio the best way and the right way. So when we went to Alex Greaves, we did a couple of singles with Alex, found out through working with Alex over time that it worked, and everything about Alex was like he wasn't afraid to say something wasn't good enough. He wasn't afraid to, add his own creative work to the project, and then we finally found the flow with Alex, and we ended up doing the album with him. So it was from the very start, doing the demos in the Yellow Door where we practice to this day. It was very, very DIY. Everything was DIY, and we knew how to work with each other and knew how to behave with each other. So you have to learn how to behave and work with someone who's not part of the band, and it takes time, you know. And I think that's why, for me anyway, it was a really interesting experience to like grow with someone like Alex and a producer and make a really good album because it is a really good album.
It's an amazing record. Again, if you want to buy it, nofilter.ffm.to/Gurriers_ come and see. Link will be down below. Choice of retailer there and everything. So it's all kitted out for you thanks to No Filter, and self-released as well. This was the first No Filter release. Gurriers as well. So well done to you guys for doing that as well. Making waves on the scene and doing it your way, which is brilliant.
It's the best way.
Sorry?
It's the best way.
It is, like, look at the amount of iconic independent record labels at the moment. It's fantastic to see. And I'd love to now talk to you guys about Jools Holland. and that show. Obviously later with Jools Holland, infamous show. I love it. I think it's just an incredible show where you're open to so much new music. And you guys play there playing Approachable. What was that like to be on Jools Holland and to be recording live? Sorry, not recording live, but recording for this show and being surrounded by. And I know you were on the same night as Laura Marling, and that's the first time I saw Laura Marling. And I was listening to Caroline, and I immediately went to look for patterns in repeat to save it so I could listen to it. So that was an incredible show. How did you guys find performing on Jools Holland in this completely new area?
Yeah. Again, just as I said about other voices, it was a dream. And you know, it's a long day, and you get there quite early, and you got to set up, and you gotta rehearse your set and everything, and it's quite daunting because you're told, if you make a mistake, we have to start again, So it's one of those things that be you need to be on your best performance as you can, and I didn't have any doubts about it. About the lads, I had doubts about myself forgetting a lyric or something, but yeah, it was amazing. Laura Marlin, I was sitting down watching Laura Marlin with tears in my eyes. She's just an amazing, amazing artist, and to actually be that close to her and hear her making that kind of music is just, yeah. I think that was my favorite part of the experience, to be honest.
Yeah, that was a beautiful track. And like since then, I've been delving into kind of Laura Marling's work by checking out other things. And just that was a beautiful track. And for someone who is quite ignorant to a lot of music, that was something that got me into Laura Marling incredibly fast. She's an amazing singer. Um, so my final question before we get into more fun question, a more informal question, I'd love to ask you guys about Glastonbury 2025 and playing there. How did you guys find being in this different country playing this massive gig? Was it just kind of something that was really, really easy for you guys because you had played at festivals before, or was this kind of a much more different thing because Glastonbury is one of the biggest festivals in the world? How did you guys find that experience and playing live to this humongous crowd?
You know, well, I can, yeah. So for us, we've played a lot of festivals, since 2023, 2022. Sorry, we played many festivals all over Europe and everything, and had an experience where you get like your whole rider, and you get food, and you get whatever, and then you do other festivals where you just get like a couple of cans, or like a handshake. But Glastonbury was a lot different. It's so big. It's like a completely different like planet. It just goes on forever. Every celebrity you could think of is just walking around like they're aimlessly enjoying themselves as well. Um, the I've never seen so many food trucks in my life. I've never seen so many like amazing gigs in my life. And it's just all in this one spot, and it's so big. It's so hard to explain. But we played two gigs. We played in a place called Left Field, which was ran by one of my heroes, Billy Bragg, and Billy Bragg was the creator of the that that tent and all the bands that played there. He you know chatted to me and stuff, and I tried my best not to seize up and freeze, because he is like genuine one of my heroes. And it was a really good gig. We played in front of like a lot of people, and then the other gig was on a Sunday in a like well-known stage. It used to be called the John Peel stage, and it's now called Woodsies. And it was a lot of fun. Big, big tent, fully packed out as well, early in the day. So we were really happy. You know, it it was a successful Glastonbury as it can be. It could go wrong, as all festivals can go wrong, and some things happen. But yeah, it was successful. It was great.
It's really, really awesome. And it, Billy is actually, speaking of festivals and Billy Bragg, he's coming to Ireland to play at Forest Fest
Oh yeah.
pretty soon. Yeah, and we were discussing that. So if you want to check out the Billy Bragg interview that I did with him. He's an incredible guy. We spoke about Forest Fest, the Roaring 40, so much more. So check that out in the description. Make sure to try and be at Forest Fest. So that will be in the description, as well as Gurriers and everything you need to know with them. And then I'd like to ask you guys a final question, which is one of my favorite questions in the entire interview, is recommendations. Do you have any music that you want to vent and just put out there that you've been listening to that you want to tell us about?
I've got into Deftones recently. And it took me a very long time to get into them. It's because I've been listening to a lot of American hardcore again, like Fugazi, Minor Threat, Black Flag, so all these kind of bands I've been starting to listen to again, and I've finally got Deftones because I've been such a ignorant uh, person and just listened to country for the past 3 years, just country music. I don't know why. But then there's a couple of Irish bands that I think are great. Delivery Service are amazing. Cable are really, really good. Cable Boy are another band that are really, really good. Cruel Sister. There's so many good Irish bands as well to check out. So definitely shout out to them. You go,
What
Mark.
about you, Mark?
Yeah, half nailed a lot of the ones I was going to say there. A lot of the Irish bands like Cable Boy, Cable, Sister, love all them. I'm really on a Keen Cavanagh buzz. You know him?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know Keen, no.
Keen Cavanagh, he's unbelievable. Really, really good. He just did an album there maybe a month ago, The Kent Star, and look, his music's brilliant. His videos are insane. Like, been someone from rural Ireland as well, but it's also kind of indie. There's stuff in his videos where I'm like, how does he know about that? You know, you're like, you were talking about the cross section of Gurriers and Malcolm in the Middle. There's a cross section of like Irish culture, kind of culture, and like rock culture, which are two things that definitely usually don't go together. But really love him, love his videos. Trying to think anyone else. Anyone else Irish? Well, actually, they're one of our favorite bands. They took us out on tour, our first ever tour. Enola Gay from Belfast, if you know them. Absolutely love those lads. Anyone else off the top of my head?
Theater.
Oh yeah, Theatre are amazing. Actually, I need to be careful now. Nerves. I need to make sure I'm shouting everyone out, or I'll be getting a few letters in the post.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like Blue Slate are good as well. Black Nylon are another band that are doing quite well. Very
Sonny.
interesting.
Yeah, go.
There's too many bands. We love them all.
Yeah, they're all great. Everyone's class.
We do like Hot Girl are great as well, and yeah, it's just there's so many, and that's a great thing to forget how many good bands there is. I think
Yeah, and especially with Ireland this year, I'm kind of like, I'm always very hyperactive regarding music, but regarding Irish music this year, I'm like falling all over the place because Sprints are releasing a new record and Junior Brother is releasing a new record. Both of them I love, and I remember listening to Letter to Self, and when I was actually in Mayo on holidays, I remember the back catalogue LP came out. And actually both of the EPs that went towards the back catalogue have been repressed. A Modern Job and Manifesto, they were both repressed recently as like 12-inch EPs. Um, and then Junior Brothers got the new record, The End, coming soon as well, which is really, really cool.
yeah,
Bit ominous, like I can't wait for that to come out. I've been loving the singles, they're really, really cool. So there's a lot of Irish music to delve into. And I'm honestly loving it as someone who's a massive fan of the scene. And as well, A. Smith's Hello Goliath. I spoke to A. Smith. If you want to check out the interview, listener link will be down below. Hello Goliath is amazing. Make sure to check it out on Bandcamp. Support your artists, guys, and make sure to buy it. As well as Junior Brother and Sprints and Black Nylon and Cable Boy. Make sure to check out all those groups. Because and solo musicians, they're really, really cool. So thank you so much for the recommendations, guys. But thank you so much for joining me here, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's been great to have you guys on here. You're two incredible musicians, Gurriers. Check it out, nofilter.ffm.to/Gurriers_ come and see. Link will be down below if you want to manually type it, no problem. But thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Make sure to check out Come and See. Support your artists, guys. Get the physical or the digital. And thank you, guys. It's been a real pleasure to chat to you.
thank you, Logan.
Likewise, big fan.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
See you later.